Hey guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you a final walkthrough of my Remember the Time mini album, although it's not so mini because it is absolutely huge, but it is all decorated now, and I'm going to walk you through what I have finished up with it, and then following this will be the tutorial on how to make this album. Alright, so on the cover, as you can see, I went ahead and I used little pieces of the scraps and made the cover. I liked how the original cover for that paper was. So on the paper it had all like the little snippets of the designs of the paper, and I kind of liked how that looked, so I went ahead and mimicked that on the cover here. So that was just cutting strips and taping them to each other, and it was pretty simple to do that part. So let's take you a quick walk through. Oops. So when we get inside here, there is a pocket on the front, and it holds whatever you want for your kind of thing. I just made some photo mats right here, and then we come over to this part here, and let's go ahead and undo it. The little belly band opens up, and your little calendar you can go ahead and fill out, and a pocket in the top that has some photo mats that I went ahead and put in there like that. And then the cute little angled cutout for this pocket, which makes it kind of fun for putting your calendar piece in here, and then you have a nice little decorative element. Oops. It's a little big for my desk. And then I used one of the cards from the cut-aparts and just made a little photo mat. Opens up, room for photos. You can lay these out any way you want. I just happen to do portrait style. And over here on this side, again, lots of room for photos. And then this fun little arrangement of pockets that I did. So they pull out. I didn't do all of it, but just like that. And then they just kind of go around the album. So let me take them all out so you can see how fun the pockets are. Just a little different style. And these will hold, these are for 3.5 by 3 3/4 photos. So a little bit different in size, but they fit in the pockets. And we have that. So then we close all back up. This goes in, tucks down, and then you just tie it all back up so everybody stays contained in their little pockets and they don't fall out. Let me go over to February. I'm just going to open these real quick in case you want to do it the same way using the papers. So that way you can just kind of see what papers I did use. The purples are very pretty. Or here. And then my pockets. You can see she's kind of peeking around the little corner there. And then March. I love the colors of the March one, and it's just a little lighter on my camera, but not too much. It's pretty close to the colors. Very pretty. Oops. I think I twisted it. There it goes. There. Is it March? Oh, I just love those colors. So pretty. And then she's peeking out. go. Gives you an idea which papers I used. So when you are decorating, what I did was, obviously when you do these, you only put part of, you'll see in the tutorial, but you only put part of these down here, and then you lay the full paper down and then put your pockets on. And April. I am going kind of quick, but you can always pause the video so you can see what I did use. And then in between these pages here, I went ahead and used my scraps again to go ahead and just kind of fill in the hinge parts there. So it was a little decorative too. Super pretty. I love how that looks. That one's nice. Let's pull all these out to get the pretty paper. And see how pretty that is. And I forgot to turn my phone off. Okay. And then May. So the book looks like a lot, but the pages are actually very simple to create. There's not a whole lot to making these pages, really. So, cute. And June. I'm ready to start playing with some of the other new papers that are out there. And then from the cut aparts, I just went ahead and added some of those down. So some of these sections here, these pieces here aren't quite long enough. So what I did was I cut them in half. So underneath the little kitty here, there's some spacing, and the little kitty hides the spacing. So if you're wondering why your pieces don't seem to fit all the way, it's because I cut them in half. You see her peeking. And so far I haven't noticed any of my closures catching on each other, so I think I'm going to be pretty safe there with that. July, really pretty. And this one. Cute. We're only halfway, or just over halfway now. In August, I love the blues on August with the red flowers. The red poppies. I believe that's what those are on there. September, the purples are absolutely gorgeous in this one. I did use Vintage Photo to ink all of my edges because that worked great with the paper. It's coming up blue, but it's purple. That's funny. She's very purple. It's that one. And then we're almost done. October. Cute. Oops. This one, then this one. And November, super pretty. I like the colors of these two. All the colors actually are awesome in this book. Oops. There we go. I feel like I'm opening up a locker combination. And he's peeking out. There, again, cutting these strips and separating them. That way I can cover the full space. And then let's go into December, and then we're done. Here's December, super pretty. Again, I carried the same paper that I did on the back cover on both parts here of my hinge pages. Cute. Right there, and she's peeking out. Anyway, that is the book, and it is all done. Other than adding some pictures and some more photo mats and stuff, it is done. I hope you guys enjoy the tutorial. The tutorial is going to follow, and if you go ahead and make one of these, tag me in it. And anyway, I hope you enjoy this. If the tutorial is next, if you stop here at just the walkthrough, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, guys, happy crafting and enjoy the tutorial. Bye. We're going to go ahead and make the covers. So you're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard at 10 by 9 and 1 piece at 4 by 9. I did go ahead and add score tape completely around the sides. So for my cardstock, I want it 2 inches bigger so I can do a 1-inch wrap. So my cardstock is 12 by 11. And I'm going to use the spacers that you can get at Country Craft Creations. That's how that's going to go on. All right, so I have all the paper backing off. That's the first one. Make sure it's on there good. Okay. All right, and then let's get some tape all around it. All right, so I have tape all around. Now I'm just going to miter my corners. And last side. Okay. And we're just going to give it a fold all the way around. And remove the tape from one side. Just like that. And other side. Okay, and then we're going to do this. Smoosh in the corners so there's no bulk. And make sure where that overlap, you give that a good push down so it kind of eliminates the little step there. And again, smush it. Okay. And there's that one. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and wrap the spine. So this piece here I cut at 11 by 8 inches. And first we need to score real quickly. If I find my, there we go. So score it first at 2 inches. That way you just know where to put. This is going to go right up to the 2-inch mark. So my 1-inch spacer. And then this is going to go right there. Just like that. Okay. And I'm going to give this a good burnish down. So what I want to do first is I just want to get some nice creases in there. Like that. And this is where our sides are going to go of our cover. So we want to give that a good burnish down. Okay. So now what we need to do is add some tape. And I'm going past my fold creases. And right here. And what I want to do is get my scissors and I want to make a cut. I'm going to cut right up to the chipboard, but not past it. And I want to keep it in line straight with right here. And same thing with the other side. Okay. And real quick, just in case my corner shows, I am just going to put some black Sharpie on the corners. Just in case. All right, and then now just fold this up. Just like that. And then this side. Okay. And we have that. So let's go ahead and keep working on that, smushing it down right up against the edge of the chipboard. Because what you're going to do is your covers are going to end up going right there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add some tape. So all right, this is what I have. So real quick before I trim any of that off, I'm going to just fold it over and give it another good burnish. Okay. Making sure it's nice and tight up against that edge. So let's go ahead and trim. So I'm just going to angle it. Just like that. And I'm going to take my covers now. I did go ahead and add tape to one of the sides, and this is just going to sit right on top. Line it up just like that. And this book is going to be very heavy, so I do want to reinforce the covers with some glue. Maybe. Okay. And stick this side down. And I don't want my tape showing, so trim that one. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. A little bit of glue. And this one. Okay, and last side. All right, and then just trim back that little bit of tape. And there we go. Nice and clean. I love doing the covers like that. All right, so let's do the hinge. So we're going to go ahead and work on our hinges. So I've already folded one. Let me just fold the other one with you. I am not going to specify the measurements in this video. I will leave all the measurements linked down below to what the scoring guide is for this, only because I'm not quite sure if this is going to work and I don't want to have to do 2 videos. So I think it's going to work, but just in case, I'm not going to call out the measurements on this. I will just put them down in the description box. Or maybe I will post a still shot in the video and you can just copy down the measurements. So anyway, so what I like to do when I do fold for my hinges is I always like to make sure I'm lined up across the top and across the bottom. That helps keep your hinges square. That way your pages don't end up in your book crooked. And I always fold both directions. So I fold it one way, make sure we're lined up, and score it down, or crease it down, and then go back the opposite way, same thing, and make sure I am lined up. And these are 1-inch hinges with a 1/2 inch gusset on them. So and I like to score and fold in the both directions, because sometimes your paper, which this one doesn't seem to line up, sometimes your paper can move, and I want to make sure it is good. Oops. All right, almost done. And then we need to add some score tape. All right. So you have this one here and this one here. So you have 2 inches on each side, and then these two will attach right here. So that will be one of the hinges. So let's go ahead and get some tape in. Oops, I need more tape. All right, so just so you can see, so let me hold it up closer. So I used 2 strips of the 3/8 on each hinge. So remember, we're doing 1-inch hinges. So this is just one piece here. So over here is the 2-inch side, and then this one here will go on top. So it'll be sticking it like that. So let's go ahead and put them together. So I'm going to take the shorter piece and I'm going to set it on top of the longer piece. And I'm going to make sure I am all lined up right up to the edge, and make sure I am even across the top. Whoops, I just slid it. So I want to make sure I'm even here and even here when I hold it down, so I can see there's no overlapping. So this one I'm just going to hold with my hand, lift this up, make sure this tape is not sticking. Okay. And that is your first hinge. So that's how we stick those down together. And then the rest is pretty easy. So this hinge here will go over top of this side. Like that. And then this one will go over here. And then, so then I'm kind of going backwards, but this one will come over like this, just because of the way the hinge was there. Okay, and then when you fold it up, so you have your 6 hinges with a 1/2 inch gusset. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 inches on each end. And this is, so it's just under 3 inches, and I made 4 inches on my spine, so should have some playroom there. Let's see. I can't wait to put this together. So, perfect. And I have about a 1/2 inch on each side. So I do see over here, I have some of my cardstock showing. I don't want it showing in the book, so we're just gonna color that in. Oops. That's where I cut my cardstock a little short. All right, so let's go ahead. We need to add, we gotta do a couple things first. So what I like to do is, because I have 1-inch hinges, I only want to bring down my pages about a 1/2 inch down. So this is how you're looking at it. Grab a hinge, fold everything back. If you don't have tape on it, it's easier. And these here are 1-inch squares, and then there's dots in between. So I know where to put them there. And I'm going to pause my video and restart it because I think I'm lagging. Okay, so I'm going to take my hinge and I'm going to mark it at a 1/2 inch. There. and as well as the bottom. My mat is getting very well worn, so I'm starting to lose my dots. Okay, so I have my marks. You can see that little right there. So I want to do the same thing to both sides of the hinge and all 6 hinges. So okay, so again, this is the first hinge, so you can see the dot there and the dot there, and then if you flip it over to the other side, dot there and dot there. So I'm going to do it to all 6. All right, so I went ahead and added all of my little lines, and then I went and added score tape to the tops of all of my hinges. That's what I have. So now what we need to do is trim. So now we need to go ahead and trim. So from the 1/2 inch mark, so you can see my little pencil mark there, I'm going to angle up a little bit. So as you can see, I'm going past the score tape, but at the little pencil mark. And then we just go back and forth and do each side. And it's easier to do this now before you add the tape to the back of the hinge for the book, because you can kind of roll it. It has a lot of rolliness to it. And then once you cut all these out, you can go ahead and add tape to the back of the hinge. Okay, get all that side and all that side. So now I'm just going to add full tape coverage to the back here. All right, so I have full tape coverage, and one thing I did do was once my tape was on it, I went ahead and just creased in it with my bone folder to make sure that tape was really good and stuck up against the hinges right in here. So what I want to do first is I'm going to find my center point. So obviously 4 inches, 2 inches is going to be the center. And I'm going to make a little mark down here. And then same thing with the top, 2 inches. And that's just so I can line up my hinges. And over here, so the middle, obviously it's 3 hinges, so 3 on each side. And so it's a 1/2 inch, so you know a 1/4 inch will be the center. That I could probably just eyeball. I wouldn't really need to make a mark on it, but for the sake of the video, we will make a mark. And then what I want to do is, because I have my mark here and my mark there, so I'm just going to go ahead and see what, oh, I know what I need to do. I got to do the bottom. So this is 9 inches. My hinges are 8.5 inches. You know what? Before I stick it down, let's just make sure I measured right. Okay, we're good. Didn't want to do all that work, stick it down, and find out I measured wrong. So 8.5, 9, so that's only a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put a tick mark, a 1/4 inch on the bottom. I'm not going to do the top. I don't need to do both. So you can see right there, this is my center, and then the 1/4 inch up on each side right there. So when I put my hinge on, my hinge is going to be corner, quarter. So as you can see, I'm lining up all the dots basically, and then the 1/4 is right under there. So move this out of the way, make sure we're nice and flat. And we can go ahead and take this off, stick it down. And just make sure none of your tape is sticking up. Okay. And I'm holding it really tight so it's going to be tight. I don't want it to like bend in the middle till I know I'm lined up. So lining up to everything. Looks good. And do the middle first. And then the other side. Okay, let's get rid of this. All right, so first thing I want to do is just go ahead and make sure we're really attached up against those hinges. I was thinking this would have been really pretty too to do the pattern paper as the hinges. All right, and then I'm going to just kind of lift up a little bit on here and get in that crease. And just keep burnishing it as I'm lifting. And then I just want to break those fibers in there so I don't get any cracking later. Okay, and then the same thing, I'm just going to flip it because it's easier for me to do on this side. And then I'm just putting my hand on the back and just kind of doing it slowly just to get those fibers broken till I can get it all the way down flat. Just like that. All right, and then the rest, now we will add our pages. So let's go ahead and get started on our pages. So to start with, for your base page, so these are going to be all for the tops of your pages, such as, we can go with the odds. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, because it's a 12-page book. So anyway, first one is going to be piece A, which is 9 by 8.5. No score lines, leave it as it is. Your second pieces, you're going to need to cut 2, and these are going to be piece B, and these are 9.25 by 8, and you're going to score on 9.25 at a 1/2 inch and apply tape. So let's go ahead and get some tape on there. I did not do the tape ahead of time. However, these pages are super simple, so we're not going to waste a lot of time doing all this. And the other one. Okay. And I did not have my tools out. All right. So this one here, I'm going to go ahead and fold it on the score line. Burnish that one. And the second one. Okay. And these pages here are shorter, so you don't need to miter anything. So the first one, I'm going to line up, centering it to the space. So as you can see, there is a slight kind of piece of paper. So you can see kind of centering it to the area. Okay, so I'm going to hold it down, remove my tape, There we go. And then the second one, open that up, and we're going to put it on the other side, lining it up to the first one. So I'm making sure I'm all the way to the edge here, and I can see over on this side where this one is folded onto, I can line it right up to that. So you can see where that is, and then this lines up perfectly on top of that. Okay. And your next piece is going to be your belly band pieces. So you need 2 pieces of those. So these are piece C. So you need 2 pieces. They're both 2 1/4 wide by 3 inches and 7 3/8. On the 3-inch side, you're going to score it a 1/2 inch, and on the 7 3/8 side, 1/2 inch. And we can add our tape. And there we go. So we can fold back. There's that one. And this one. Okay. And what you're going to do now is we need to find our center point on our base pages. So if you open this up, these are the 2 flaps, and I'm just going to rotate it. So this piece here is 8 1/2. So at 4 1/4 is your center. So mark there. And on the other side, also 4 1/4. So I put a 4 1/4 on this side, on the top of this flap, open it up 4 1/4 on the side for that flap. So now our belly bands. So these ones here are 2 1/4. So 1 1/8 will be your center point on that one. And same thing to this piece, 1 1/8. Okay. The bigger piece is going to go on top of your left side. So what I'm doing here is you can see my center part there and my center part here. And basically I am just going to stick these 2 so the spots line up. And that looks good. That one's down. Open up my page. Same thing again. I have my 2 marks, the center one on here, the center one right there, and I'm going to line them up so the 2 dots match up. Just like that. So now when these 2 close, this is how this part here will close, and that the tie will keep that closed together. All right, up next is a couple of photo flaps. So this is D, and these 2 pieces here are 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, scoring on the 4 3/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch. And we're going to throw some tape on. And fold these guys back. Okay, and we'll take these 2 pieces here. So we're going to open up, and we are working on the left side flap. And these guys here, we're going to go ahead and put one about a 1/4 inch away from the bottom down here. You can see. And we are going almost up to the crease on the page. So as you can see, this is where the page folds, so it won't interfere, and it is attached to this side. And then we're going to stagger it, and we're going to put this one up on the top all the way to the edge. And there's those ones. Now let's go ahead and let's do, what did I decide to do next? Pockets. So you need, for your pockets, you're going to need 4 pieces. And these 4 pieces are 3 by 5. And you're going to score on the 5 at a 1/2 inch and 4.5. Rotate, score on the 3-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So let's get some tape on those. Alright, so I have my tape on all of them, and what you're going to do is miter your corners so you can fold it, and then I just like to trim off the little bits on the top there. And let's go ahead and fold them all. You want to make sure that there is no overlapping here, or it's going to make your pockets a little wonky. And you want them to sit as flat as possible on your base pages. That one I cut perfect. All right. And when you attach these ones, you're not going to completely attach them, because you want to be able to put some pattern paper down first. That way you have a background paper. So for this one here is going to go on this back page right there. And we are going to get started. So there's 4. So for the first one, we're only going to attach this. So we're only attaching anything that goes to the outside. So this one here, I'm going to put almost to the top. So this one I'm leaving a little space to the top, and you can see I'm not hindering on that crease there because this one here is attached to the back page. Too much stuff in my way. All right, and our next pocket now, we're going to attach it to the bottom. Same thing, all the way to the bottom. I'm going to hold it. Just like that. And then this one here, this side here is going to get attached all the way on this side. So all the way to the bottom and to the side where you're not interfering with this, because this piece is attached to this one, not to this side. And then this pocket here, so I'm attaching the side piece here, and I want it to sit right on top. So what I'm going to do is hold this piece down, make sure I'm right up along the edge of this pocket and lined up straight down this way. And so when I'm confident I have it where I want it, just like that. So then what happens is when you go ahead and decorate, you can put your pattern paper first and then stick all your pockets down. So now the next piece is F, which is going to be our little calendar flap, which is going to get attached up here. So, and you have 2 score lines. So this piece here is 5 1/8 by 7 7/8, and you're going to score on the 7 7/8 side at a 1/2 inch and 3/4. So you have 2 fold lines there. Add tape. And we're going to fold back on the first one. I always like to fold back on the one closest to this part because it just folds nicer. And then I do the second one. So when you do them together, this is what you have. Okay, so on this one as well, oops, you're going to fold over all the way like this for right now, and you need to find your center. So this one is going to be, if it's 5 1/8, let's see, 2.5. Where am I? Hold on. This one's going to be a little wonky here. So it's kind of, like 2 9/16. Or if you find the 2.5 on each side of your ruler, just go a smidge over. And I just made a little mark in the middle, right there. And then this piece here, same thing. So because this back piece here is, what are we? We're 9, so 4.5 is my center on this one. Little mark there. So this piece now, I'm going to just turn it all so I can work on it. So I'm going to fold back. And actually, I didn't want to fold it all the way. I just wanted to fold it down on the first one. So I just traced my mark up. I made it there and I want it here. So when you do find your center, just do the first one. And then I'm going to line it up. So you can see there's this mark and there's this one. So I'm going to line those up. And all the way to the top. So then this piece folds up. Okay. Now we are gonna, let's go ahead and just kind of tuck those in so we have a little space to work here. So we're gonna go ahead and work on piece G, which is the little pocket that we are going to add to the top of that. All right, so then piece G is a pocket, and this is 6 1/8 by 3.5. On the 6 1/8 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, and 5 3/8. Oh no, 5 5/8. I'm sorry, and rotate it and score on the 3.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. We're going to add our tape. And then we're going to go ahead and miter our corners. And then the little bits on the corner. And burnish all those down. So now we're going to take our page, and this pocket is going to go up here. So I'm just going to rotate it. And it's going to go all the way to the top. And this one we can go ahead and stick all the way down. Now this is sized appropriately for your calendar pages. Let me just give these all guys a good burnish so they stop flopping up. And we only have one piece left. So this page we're going to leave blank. That way we can put some nice photo mats on there. These will be our pockets. This will have more photos. So what we're going to do is, this is the first piece. Make sure nothing hangs up. And then there's our flap. This one's going to come over. That's also the rest of our flap, our belly band. This one will come down. And then these come across to hold everything in place. So our last piece is going to be a pocket. This is piece H. And this one is 9 3/4 by 2.5, scoring on the 9 3/4 inch side at a 1/2 inch and at 9 1/4. Rotate in, and on the 2.5 inch side, you're going to score right down the line there. Let's add our tape. And this one, we're going to make a few cuts. So don't get ahead. All right, so our tape is on the front. We're going to flip it over to the back side. And let's go ahead and go on a different ruler. No, let's use this one. All right, so in this one here, this is where our tape is. I'm just going to fold it over. So I'm going from the top edge here, and we want to go over. We want to come down on this one. Oops, I have it backwards. I'm sorry. I can't draw that way. Do it over. Here's the thing. We're going to flip it over, and this is the cut edge here, like that. And then we are going to make a mark, and we're going to go 1 1/8 inch from the top. And we're going to go all the way down. So it's our pencil mark. As you can see, this is the top edge, okay? And then on this part here, we are going to go over 2 1/8. Make a mark. And on this side, I'll do it backwards. We're going to do the same thing, 2 1/8. So you can see we have this little box right here, and we are going to go ahead and cut that center piece out. So we are cutting out that area right there. And what did I do with, oh, here it is. All right, so we're just going to cut out that center little box real quick. And I'm just going to use my scissors because I know my line is good. Like that. And now we can go ahead and miter our corners. And that's what you have right now. And let's go ahead and fold. And then this piece now, if you take your page, if you put it on right like this, you line up right there. So again, this is our flap on the right side. This piece is going to go on top of the flap. So I'm just going to turn it. Make sure I'm all lined up. So you can see I'm just on that flap. Like that. And then when this piece comes down, you have that nice little area there. All right, so this one is done, and we'll go ahead and make the other page, and those will be for the even pages, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We'll go ahead and make that one. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do all of our even side pages. So the assembly to the top part is identical. The only piece that is different is your base page. This base page is 9 by 9.5, and on the 9.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 9 inches. And we're going to apply our tape. On the top and the bottom. Okay. And let's fold this back. Give it a good burnish. All right, so this page here, our tape lines are top and bottom. So we can just go ahead and we're going to work on it like this. So everything else, like I said, is the assembly is the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and whiz through these here, because by the time you're done making 12 of these all together, you also are not going to have to think about what you are doing. So this piece is centered. Open it up. This piece on the right side, centered, making sure you're lining up this side with your hinge on that. I might do this out of order because I don't really have to walk you guys through this part. So I'm going to do my belly bands. Again, we're going to find our centers. So 1 1/8. 1 1/8. And then this one here, these are so 4 1/4 on that one. The longer belly band is going to go on the top on the left side. And this one is going to go on the top on the right flap. Give them a good burnish so they stop trying to come up on me. And I'm going to open this one up. Well, let's do our photo flaps. If you have any questions on how this page is made, just go back and watch how we made the original one for the front side. That's 22 minutes. I don't really need to make another 22-minute video showing you how to do the same thing. Okay. That one was blank. Let's see, let's do our little pockets first. Let's fold those down. And give those a, did I overlap? Nope, look at that. Another one. Haven't lost my touch. Okay. And remember, when you put these little pockets down, you're not completely putting them down because you want to be able to add your pattern paper to the background first. So let's get started on that. So first one, we're going to go up to the top. And then the bottom one. And then this one off to the side. I can't wait to see what these little pages here are going to look like with the little photo mats in them. And then this one, we're doing this side. So we'll make sure we're all lined up right there. And now I need to find the center of this top spot. I'm just going to turn it around. It is now upside down. 9, 4.5 is my center. And this guy here, let's fold that. This one is going to have that weird fold. I mean, that weird center. Oh, I did it again. It's the same thing I did the last time. So I'm working sideways right now, just so you know, because this is at the top. Okay. And that flap goes up. Now we have, what did I do in that pocket? Did I not cut that piece? I didn't cut the piece for the top of that, so let's just take care of, I thought I cut it though. Alright, so this is the right flap where I'm going to put this piece on, and then I'll cut the pocket for that flap there. And I already went ahead and cut out the piece for that. And that is going to go right there. Try it again. Let's get that corner down first. All right, and let me just cut out for that top piece there. All right. If you wanted to get fancy with any of these pockets, you could always put windows and stuff in them too. But I'm just trying to go for simple, quick, easy fun, because you got to make 12 of them. Like that. So everything is there. This comes down, and then our flap. So it is all lined up. Whoops. All good right there. All right, so now, before we put them in our book, we are going to go ahead, and this is what we have. So this is going to sit on like this, so then it flips. So let's go ahead, let's trim up these parts first. So I'm just going to trim those parts back, top and bottom. And I'm doing it from the score line back. I have to put those back down. So make sure, again, your 2 calendar flaps here and right there. These are at the top. And we're going to attach these to the bottom and the top. So these parts here should line up, so you'll know you get them even too, because if you centered them right, they should line up right. So let's go ahead. So I'm just going to push down and make sure I am squared up there. Everything looks good, so I'm going to hold it. And this one, move the tape and stick the last one down. And looks like I didn't quite get this one centered. You can see I'm off a little bit, but it's not going to matter. And now you have, you can go all the way through. So this is where you're going to attach it to your hinge. And then all this will stay closed once you put everything together. But anyway, now we're just going to go ahead and stick them in the book and decorate them. So the video that you're about to watch, the part where I am adding the pages to this book, I had previously made the video here in different sections. So I had to go back and actually make some sections of the video, such as the one with the pages. So you'll notice some have this matte and some have the white paper down. So when I'm adding the pages to the book, I had already made my pages and decorated them. So that might be a little confusing when you all of a sudden see black pages and then I'm putting them in a book decorated. Just because of the time frame that I put it together, it was easier for me to go ahead and put it together when I had time versus waiting until I was able to do all the videos. So it does look a little choppy, but overall it's exactly how you make the book. You just see me make the pages and then all of a sudden they're decorated. So that explains that part, so you're not confused when you go ahead and watch me putting the pages in the book. All right, so let's go ahead and get some pages in. All right, so let's start with the back. So that obviously is going to be November, December. And let's give it a trial run. Oops, that string to so we're going to slip it on. So it'll go on just like that, and then the page will lay down. So let's go for it. So when you put your pages on, you want to go down to that pencil mark on both the top and the bottom, because you want to make sure that you are squared up. And then give it a good push down. And next, so before you stick them, just double check them. So October, November, September, Now I'm not going to do it, but because this side is open, you can always go in and add some pull-out photo mats if you wanted to. That looks good. And make sure you test each piece. Just because one fits does not necessarily mean they're all going to fit. Okay, and for 3, so we got September, so August, September, make sure we're lined up. And we might have to do, instead of continuing this direction, we might have to go do January and work backwards that way, only because as we get going, we're going to get thicker and thicker here. So, because we're halfway through right now. Okay, and that string, get in that little pocket. All right. And just keep making sure you are lining up even, which I am. So I think, I'm not sure, because I think that next one might be a little too much. Whoops. Because right now we're here. I think we're going to go backwards. So let's do January. Let's do the first pages. So okay. Darn little string. So that's good there. Okay, and all right, and let's do March. Okay. Good. Okay. It might be easier too if you attach the pages before you decorate them, but again, like I said, I didn't know how thick my book was going to be, and I really wanted to not have to redo it because I really want to actually use this book this year. I want to try to get, every month I'm going to try to challenge myself to take some photos and put it in the book, which is very hard for me to do, believe it or not. So flopping on me. I don't want to catch a string in the hinge. Okay. All right. Don't forget to erase your pencil marks afterwards too for any that might be showing. All right. And so you can see this is a chunky book. So when it flips, and whoops, I have to cover that up. But as you can see, that is a big book, but I do have some room here because you can see it does kind of squish down. So, and you have a lot of space here, and you have 1/2-inch hinges. All right, so as you can see, there is plenty of room right here to go ahead and close down the book. It's definitely going to be very, very heavy. So we're just going to go ahead and keep the front sides very simple. We're just going to go ahead and do some simple pockets, maybe even a corner pocket perhaps, because we don't need to really add too much to the to these. So maybe just a simple little corner pocket, and then we'll put some pattern paper on here. I just have to figure out which pattern paper, but I need to get something on here because it is catching. When I go to close the book, it's catching on this right now, and I don't want it to tear my pages. So, but in the book, you have all this room. Super fun. And then pocket at the top, and then it just folds down and fits in here, where this is also a little shallow cut pocket, but it's cut out for your calendar, and then your belly band, so it keeps all of your stuff for that month all contained. All right, so let's get some simple pockets on, and I'll decorate the covers. I'll show you what I'm going to do. See, it's catching right there. I don't want it to wreck my pages. I'll show you what I do on that. It's definitely a heavy book. All right, so let's do it like this. You know, see, I'm tearing up my thing. All right, let me get some paper on it before I wreck that. So for my corner pockets, I just cut a piece of cardstock. It is 9 by 9 with a 1/2 inch all the way around. So I'm going to cut at an angle. So this was my 9 by 9 piece, and then I just cut it, and we're just going to trim everything up. And these will be the front, inside, front and back covers, pockets. Give it a good burnish. And I was trying to figure out how to decorate these, but I might just take, because December is the last page, I might just keep it matched with the December here, and then January on the front one, because then it will just look like that's how they were made. So we're going to go ahead and stick this on. So I'm going just like that. You can see my book's heavy. It doesn't even want to lay flat. Okay, there's that one. I hate how it catches on that stuff. That's why I need to get that paper on those really fast. So every time I flip it, I keep digging into my paper. And there's nothing worse than doing all that work and then just ruin your pages because your stuff got stuck. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and get some paper on that, and I'll show you what we did. So apparently this is where I ended the video, so I show you where I go ahead and put on the corner pocket, and then my video seemed to have stopped. However, it was just decorating, so for the most part you can just go ahead rewatch the beginning part of this video to see how I went ahead and decorated the pages and stuff. So I have all that, and I just followed through like I showed you in the beginning. I didn't kind of point out that stuff a whole lot, but in between on the hinges I went ahead and added the paper in those, and I think it looks really nice. So I just did this with the scraps and stuff that were left over just to kind of finish it off. But anyway, just to see how I decorated all the pages, just go ahead and watch that, and I'll put together something real quick just so you can see how I did the cover, because I didn't actually show you, but I'll show you how I did this part here real quick. I went ahead and made the cover on this because I know unless you are super crafty, you might question exactly how to do it. So we're just going to make a small little sample. So what I did was I cut out a piece of paper, basically what size I needed to go ahead and create this. So I did that. Where's my ruler? So I cut out a piece of paper that was 9 3/4 by 8 3/4, it looks like. And that was my foundation for my page. And then I cut all my little 1-inch strips, and I went ahead and inked. So I only need to ink right now on one side, because these I cut. So I just, for my sample piece, I just went ahead and cut it 5 by 5, and my little strips are 5.5 inches. So as you can see, they're going to overlap on this. So to go ahead and create that, what I did was, so I have to work backwards. So you're going to start at the end and move the other direction. So basically, we're just going to go like this. And take the tape off, and whoops, I'm going to line it right up to the edge, just like that. And let's alternate some colors so you can see it. And then the next one. So again, I went ahead and inked just the one side. I actually did the top, but you only need to do the side. And I did not cut out enough, I believe, to do the whole thing, but we're just going to give you the idea. So then this one goes on top. And let's get this little cute kitty on. Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off again. And of course, I line it up so I can have cute little pictures and stuff from my scraps on there. And for the most part, I did try to line it up in the order of the paper collection. So such as a strip for January, February, March, I went through. So there was one strip to represent each month on there. And I'll just do the other two and then we'll be done. This is just showing you how I made it. Like that. And then the last one. So as you can see, the white paper, it's just a base. So it's not like you're going to see any of that. So once I went all the way across, obviously you can see the back side here. So I would just trim that up because the white is the actual size that I need for it. So, oops. So I just line that up there. And I don't need that. And then the, whoops. And then the other side. And then that's basically how I made that part. And then what I did was, just to finish it off, I just went ahead and then inked on the top and the bottom. And then obviously this side, let's just cut that off, pretend like that's my whole cover. And then just ink right there. And that's how I went ahead and created the cover, and then I just applied tape to the whole back and then just stuck it on my book. So basically, and that's it. That's how I made that part. Super easy. I actually love how that looks, so you're probably going to be seeing me do that a few more times. So that wraps up the tutorial for this album. I hope you enjoyed making it. Please go ahead and tag me in it. And I hope you enjoy this. I can't wait to see what you guys go ahead and create with it. Anyway, until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Bye.